Hey everyone, welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in.
ELECTRA'S wild story. Lee's prison warning. If Luna is lying. The Bold and the Beautiful demonstrates that Lee Finnegan issued a prison warning if Luna Nozawa was lying. Ivy Forrester also addressed Electra Forrester's rambunctious narrative. Consequently, the BMB performance on Friday proceeded as follows. Katie Logan engaged in a conversation with Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester at Forrester Creations regarding Lee's potential rescue of Luna, in a manner similar to the way she had previously rescued John Finnegan. Eventually, Katie acknowledged that the authorities were unaware that Luna was still alive, and had returned to Bill Spencer's personal residence. Ridge and Brooke were incensed by the news, as they desired Luna's return to incarceration. Kate recounted the entire Luna pregnancy narrative in order to appeal to Will Spencer. Katie clarified that they were required to wait until Luna was sufficiently along to undergo a paternity test, which is why they had not yet informed the authorities. Luna implored her grandmother not to be so critical after Lee approached her at the Spencer estate. Luna believed that Lee should be delighted, as she would become a great-grandmother, and the baby would prevent Luna from being incarcerated. Lee was incensed by Luna's devious scheme, and resolved to maintain her faith that this is Will's offspring. Lee issued a warning that Luna would be imprisoned, and the key would be discarded if she was deceiving. Ivy was taken aback by the Forrester estate when she learned about the numerous new Luna developments. Electra provided her with the latest information and acknowledged that Will was a victim. However, she also noted that he withheld information from her. The fact that Will had been in bed with Luna the night before Electra made love to him for the first time was a source of distress. Ivy advised Electra to consider her options in the event that Luna was expectant with Will's child. Will texted Electra after Bill encouraged his son, asserting that he could not survive without her. The message was opened by Electra, who then viewed a photo of herself and Will on her phone, indulging in sorrow. Luna returned to Bill's residence and engaged in a game of poker with a bowl of chips. Luna also conversed with her expectant child, implying that Electra would soon be permanently removed from Daddy's life. As per revelations from the Bold and the Beautiful, there are additional Luna-related surprises in motion. No way. What would be the outcome if Will Spencer is the father of Luna's child? The BMB nightmare scenarios that will destroy everyone. In tragic scenarios, Will's paternity nightmare as Luna's child could irrevocably bind him to his rapist. Will we hear the dreaded words, "Will Spencer, you are the father?" TLDR. The moment of truth when Luna's paternity test results are received is the focus of these BMB spoilers for October 6th to 10th. However, what if Will Spencer is the father? Every potential conclusion is catastrophic, whether it involves criminal charges, forced co-parenting with a psychopath, adoption drama, Katie and Bill rearing their child, or Luna departing only to return and demand millions of dollars. Let us speculate on the complete chaos that would result. Will's worst nightmare has been validated by the paternity test results. The Bold and the Beautiful is experiencing a pivotal juncture during the week of October 6th to 10th. Luna Nozawa is treating her belly as if it were a magical lamp, waiting for a genie to appear and grant her 3 wishes. However, she may be singing a different melody when the paternity test results are received. While Will Spencer apologizes to Electra Forrester for causing her suffering, "Buddy, it is not your fault. Luna flat out raped you," his parents are taking precautions to prevent the crazy from altering the test findings to her favor. Katie Logan informs Bridget Forrester, "You recall my niece," as she guides her into the Spencer estate. She will administer the paternity test. "You are not going to be able to Luna Nozawa your way out of this." It is evident that everyone is eager to learn the results. "Please, Bridget," Will implores. What is the content? However, what if the solution is something that no one wishes to hear? What if Will is, in fact, the father? Scenario 1. Will files accusations. We should begin with the most obvious question. Would Spencer pursue charges for rape if he is Luna's father? To be explicit, Luna drugged and sexually assaulted him. This is not seduction, or a mistake, but a crime. Will is a victim, and Luna, baby or not, belongs in prison. However, this is the point at which the situation becomes challenging and bleak. If Will files charges, Luna may be sentenced to a substantial amount of time in prison. Consequently, the baby's fate is uncertain. Will Luna give birth in prison? Will Katie and Bill Spencer be detained while Luna serves her sentence? Or will Luna attempt to manipulate the court system by utilizing pregnancy as a justification for leniency? Luna has a history that would serve as an exceptional prosecution case. She has already killed individuals, drugged numerous victims, and demonstrated no remorse for her actions. The district attorney should be able to easily add rapist to her resume. However, this is the bold and the beautiful, where offenders consistently avoid repercussions, so it is uncertain whether justice will be served. Scenario 2. Will is unwilling to engage with this infant. Let's be frank. Will is a young man who was sexually assaulted by a psychopath, and he is now expected to acquiesce to the fact that he is the father of the child as a consequence of the assault. This is absurd. Will has the right to reject the child, and no one should censure him for it. This child would serve as an ongoing reminder of Will's most traumatic experience. Each time he gazed upon the child, he recalled being drugged, molested, and having his autonomy revoked by Luna. To anticipate that Will would be a jubilant father to Luna's rape child is beyond cruel. It would necessitate that he relive his tragedy on a daily basis for the remainder of his life. Will may legally relinquish his parental rights, particularly in light of the circumstances surrounding his conception. He could walk away, focus on his recovery from Luna's actions, and establish a life with Electra that excludes his rapist child. Would this render him a bad person? Certainly not. It would render him a person who establishes healthy boundaries after experiencing sexual assault. The adoption conversation that no one wants to have. Adoption becomes the most logical solution if Will is the father, but fails to provide for the infant, and Luna is incarcerated. However, who would adopt a child with Luna Nozawa's DNA? The child would be accompanied by more red flags than a communist procession. Katie and Bill may feel obligated to intervene. But is it necessary? Katie had already raised Will, and now she is expected to begin anew with her grandson after her son was raped. This is a significant request. Bill may disagree, as he has a protective patriarchal streak, but even Bill must establish a boundary. An outside adoption may be feasible. However, what adoption agency would be interested in adopting a child whose mother has been convicted of murder and rape? The background checks would be a nightmare in and of themselves. Additionally, what will you inform the child when they are older? Well, honey, your biological mother is in prison for murder and sexual assault, and your biological father did not want to have any involvement with you due to the trauma. However, we have affection for you. Indeed, that will necessitate an extensive amount of therapy. Scenario 4. Katie and Bill unexpectedly become parents. Consider this horror show. Katie and Bill make the decision to raise Luna's baby independently, as it is Will's biological child and theoretically their granddaughter. They have already experienced the parenting process, possess the necessary resources, and feel a sense of responsibility for this innocent child who did not wish to be born into this horrific situation. However, the reality is that Katie and Bill are no longer in a relationship. They are currently co-parenting an adult child, not an infant. Would they reconcile for the sake of the baby? Would they come to an unusual custody agreement in which the baby is divided between the two households? How would you explain to others that you are raising your son's rape baby, because the mother is in prison, and your son is unable to cope with the trauma? So what about Will? He would be compelled to observe his parents rear his own child while being constantly reminded of the harm Luna had inflicted on him. Family gatherings would be exceedingly uncomfortable. Hey son, would you like to hold your sister or daughter? No. Alright, I will have more pureed potatoes. This situation is a recipe for animosity, trauma triggers, and family therapy expenses that would cause even the Spencers to go insolvent. Katie would likely manage it with grace, as she is Katie, but Bill would undoubtedly strike something at least once a week out of irritation. Scenario 5. Luna departs and subsequently returns, requesting millions. The Spencers and Forresters breathe a sigh of relief, convinced that they have seen the last of crazy Luna. However, A dreadful scenario that would undoubtedly be featured in a soap opera occurs. Luna escapes from a significant prison sentence, abducts the infant and vanishes. Luna arrives at Spencer Publications with a toddler, seeking a payout and frightening Nozawa. "Do you remember this baby?" she inquires. She would respond with an exuberant grin. "I have been responsible for the care of Will's child on my own, and I am convinced that the Spencer family owes me a sum of money, perhaps $10 million or 20. Alternatively, I could go to the press and inform them of the innocent infant you all abandoned." Bill's mental stability would be compromised. The situation would be addressed diplomatically by Katie, while she would be covertly planning Luna's demise. Will experience a complete breakdown as a result of the return of the woman who sexually assaulted him, and her utilization of his biological child as a form of extortion. Additionally, Luna? She would relish each moment of the destruction she is inflicting. The legal dispute would be absurd. Luna, a convicted felon, is attempting to extort money from the Spencer family by utilizing a child she conceived through rape. However, she would also assert that she has been the primary caregiver for this infant while the Spencer family, who are affluent, did nothing. It would result in a legal dilemma that would persist for months and a public relations catastrophe. Scenario 6. Luna's sick games. The baby becomes a pawn. What is the most bleak timeline? Throughout the years, Luna maintains the infant and employs it as a form of leverage against Will. She would petition for child support, demand Will's visitation privileges, and generally ensure that she is always connected to the Spencer family through this infant. Luna was afforded the opportunity to reintegrate herself into Will's life at every school function, holiday, and birthday. She would arrive at Spencer Publications with the child, share images on social media with the Spencer family, and ensure that no one forget that she was Will's child. Will would be ensnared in a hellish cycle of co-parenting with his rapist. He would be required to pay child support by the family court. Luna would employ each court-ordered interaction to exert her influence, remind Will of her actions, and essentially punish him psychologically. Electra would likely flee, as dating a man who has a child with his rapist and must maintain contact with the rapist is an excessive amount of burden. Will would be unable to escape as a result of Luna's actions, which would usurp his entire future. No other response is acceptable. Luna should be incarcerated in her proper place. The fact is that Luna Nozawa, irrespective of the paternity determination, is a prisoner. She is a rapist, a kidnapper, a murderer, and a general menace to society. Despite the fact that Will is the father, Luna perpetrated a heinous crime against him, and is now responsible for the consequences. Will should not be compelled to become a father alongside his rapist, despite the fact that the child is blameless in all of this. That is not to suggest that Katie and Bill should be responsible for the upbringing of their grandchildren. That is not to suggest that Luna should be able to use this child as a get-out-of-jail-free card or a meal ticket to Spencer's affluence. What is the optimal situation? The infant is placed with a loving adoptive family that is located far from the chaos, will receive significant therapy and support, and Luna is incarcerated. Will has the option to reconnect with the child at a later time, provided that he is prepared to do so. However, there is no obligation or pressure. Los Angeles will be haunted by this infant storyline for years. Bold prediction. This storyline will have long-term consequences for the bold and the beautiful, regardless of the paternity results. If Will is the father, the potential consequences are dire, with no straightforward solutions or happy endings in sight. Luna has developed a scenario in which all parties suffer losses. Will potentially forfeits his entire future and his sense of security. Katie and Bill may be compelled to raise an additional child, due to the loss of their tranquility. Electra forfeits her opportunity to engage in a conventional romantic partnership. Additionally, an innocent infant is delivered into circumstances that are unsuitable for any child. Brooke and Ridge are appalled by Katie's disclosure, and Luna is reprimanded by Lee. Ridge complains to Forrester that Steffi does not require Luna's presence at this time. She is intended to have passed away. Katie is adamant that she is still alive. They pass by Lee, feeling pity for her granddaughter/niece, and wishing to provide her with another opportunity. Ridge exclaims, "Give her another opportunity to do what? Kill people." Katie discloses that the police are unaware that Luna is alive, stating that Bill has her at the house. Ridge, unsurprisingly, attributes the entire incident to Bill. He is overjoyed that the police have sufficient evidence to incarcerate Luna for life. Brooke is taken aback by Katie's revelation that Luna was raped at Il Giardino after his celebration. Katie Brooke bed and breakfast. Brooke and Ridge are incensed and vow to contact the authorities independently. Katie responds that they are unable to do so, and is compelled to disclose the entire narrative. Luna may be pregnant with Will's child. Brooke bed and breakfast. What will Lee be required to say? Luna and Lee are engaged in a conversation regarding their future plans at Bill Spencer's residence when Lee enters and expresses her dissatisfaction with her current location, which is in contrast to her current imprisonment. Luna advises Lee to cease her judgmental behavior and to take pride in her pregnancy with Will's child. Lee begins to censure Luna for her appalling treatment of Will. Luna maintains that Will is the reason for her survival. Lee exclaims, "I saved her life." Luna accuses her of being ill and malevolent, claiming that this was always her plan to gain independence. "You'd better pray that's really Will Spencer's child. This is how she repays her." Luna bed and breakfast. Luna, who is constantly touching her stomach, ensures Lee that everything will be fine. The paternity test will verify that this is Will's child. Lee issues a warning. "If you are lying, Luna, they will lock you up and discard the key." What is the significance of Ivy's warning? Ivy is taken aback by Electra's admission that Luna may be pregnant with Will's child at the Forrester residence. Electra is aware that Will did not wish for this to occur, and she is surprised that Luna is attempting to undermine their relationship, a notion she had previously dismissed. Additional information. Lawrence St. Victor's new beginnings. He did not cheat, but he did conceal it from her. She regrets that he slept with someone else the night before their first encounter. "Thank God we used protection," she declares to the audience. Both women are sick to their stomachs about the situation. Ivy warns Luna that she must consider whether being pregnant with Will's child is too much for her. Electra B&B. Is Bill capable of rectifying this? Bill encourages his son to continue reaching out to Electra and promises to address Luna. Will believes that his entire existence has been turned upside down, and that the ship has sailed, which breaks Electra's heart. Bill, who is present to check on him, growls, "Because of Luna." He assures her that she will return to prison in some form or another, and will not allow her to ruin his son's life. Will does not blame her if she refuses to participate in the situation. Will, forgetting that he is the victim, continues to let Electra down. "I can't lose her." Will the crew be responsible for billing the bed and breakfast? The concluding scenes. In Forrester, Ridge complains about Luna's paternity test. Katie explains that they must wait until she is sufficiently pregnant, which is why she is at Bill's house. Katie is frightened by the prospect of the baby being Will's, and she is devastated for Will and Electra. Luna is malevolent, poisoning all that is good. She is referred to as a monster by Katie. Katie bed and breakfast. Luna fondles poker chips and recollects the rape, laughing and squinching her nose in delight. She informs her stomach that they are going to be a family, and that Electra will be completely absent from their father's life. Luna massages B&B's midsection. Ivy informs Electra at the Forrester mansion that everyone will comprehend if this is excessive. Electra remains in a state of awe, but she remains optimistic, noting that Luna has previously lied. Ivy cautions her that she may not be available this time. Even if she is able to forgive Will, what if Luna is indeed pregnant with his child? Electra's wild story. Lee's prison warning if Luna is lying. The Bold and the Beautiful. Comprehensive spoiler expansion and speculative analysis. The Finnegan and Spencer families are embroiled in yet another web of deception, manipulation, and explosive secrets that threaten to ruin numerous lives in Friday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful. The drama commences at Forrester Creations, where Katie Logan enters the executive office with an expression that informs Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester that something significant has recently occurred.